Okay, guys, welcome back to another blockchain news video. Today we have number 22 as we step into Wednesday of the week. It is midweek madness in here. Bitcoin currently at 10,349, Ethereum at 247, XRP almost 29 cents, Bitcoin Cash almost $480, Bitcoin SV at $378. The market is absolutely bullish. This is just beautiful to look at. Right now, if we go over to Coin 360, we can just see how green it just looks. And actually, before we move on to the news, I want to highlight Ethereum is actually all the way up to that 12% gain on the daily. Bitcoin almost 6%, EOS almost 11%, and it's just absolutely astronomical here, the gains that we've seen today. There are some smaller coins that are in the red, and that's understandable, right? Not everything is just going to be green. But in any case, overall, the market is very bullish. And take a look, guys, the dominance of Bitcoin is actually starting to go down. It's looking at 62.6%, so that's pretty good. Looking like these alts are starting to make a big move, and it's good to keep that in mind. The other day, we had covered EOS at 4.80 something, and now it's 5.36. So keep an eye on those numbers, guys. Ethereum was $200 last time I remember kind of talking about it, and now it's 246. So big gains here. But let's go ahead and move on to the news. We have Bitcoin hits 5-month high following Fed Chair Powell's privacy praise. So we went ahead and saw how the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's testimony to the U.S. House, where he discussed the need for privacy amongst digital currencies when thinking about China's digital yuan. So he wants to also make it known that the U.S. would leverage privacy within its digital currency or currencies. It's actually pretty interesting to hear this coming from the history that we've had with the U.S. government, where it's been very against Bitcoin's kind of, they want to make everything transparent. They want to have everybody have an eye into the cryptocurrency space, and it's understandable. But to come here and hear the Federal Reserve chairman speak on this and state that they would value privacy within the U.S. is a very big thing. It's extremely bullish, these comments that he's made. And of course, we know that every single government is going to try to push for creating backdoors within the any major technology innovation. So not only to include companies that are right now Facebook and all those big companies like Google and stuff that are moving around information, but of course for cryptocurrency and finance, it's not going to change. They're going to want to have a backdoor. But all that matters for us right now, those that are in the cryptocurrency space, is that this is bullish news, very bullish statements. I would never think that I'd be on a microphone covering this kind of information, especially for cryptocurrency within 2020. It seemed like just only a year ago, things were so bleak, and you didn't know where the bottom of the market was. But here we are, early on into 2020, with statements like this to stare at. The Bitcoin halving is near, and it is upon us, guys. Do not move away. Do not stop looking at Bitcoin. I expect it to continue to move up. There is just too much positivity going with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole. And also, it might be due to people are seeing Bitcoin as a safe haven asset, because we've had the health issues throughout the world that are causing the stock market to be pretty volatile right now. We also have worries in regards to sanctions that are being put on certain countries and whatnot. Every single country wants to control the other one. So we're going to let the politicians do what they do best, and that's play around with politics. But in the meantime, we're going to make sure that we are educated and we keep a good eye on what can provide us more opportunity. So Bitcoin continues to move up, and that is extremely exciting. Next up, we have JP Morgan may merge its blockchain project with Ethereum Studio consensus report. So they've had quorum. It's actually been a working piece of technology that's been available for JP Morgan to essentially connect with other banks. So they have around 365 banks that are on the board working with JP Morgan, and they've been taking advantage of this piece of technology. It's been built and connected with Ethereum, so it was the first way to officially connect a bank with Ethereum, and it was pretty good for JP Morgan. Now, there's rumors that they may be merging with Consensus. Right now, there's no formal confirmation from JP Morgan's side, but we do know that when JP Morgan was screaming against Bitcoin, they were actually, CEO was actually holding Bitcoin. So just keep an eye on that just in case they're going to continue to get more involved within blockchain and crypto as a whole. Next up, we have cryptocurrency proponent Andrew Yang ends presidential bid. So this is kind of sad for me because not that I was necessarily a big follower on Andrew Yang, but I know that he was big on pushing cryptocurrency and just bringing that fairness to the playing field when it comes to letting regulators know that as cryptocurrency followers and early investors, we don't really have proper regulation in place and we don't have proper clarity. We do have the bigger agencies that are asking and wanting to know where our money's going, and it's understandable to a certain degree, but the lack of clarity, it has been an issue. So he was trying to push for a national approach to blockchain and crypto rather than just throwing it towards the states, because in the United States, each state can just create their own legislation, and it can just be kind of like, honestly, still the Wild West. It's state can be for it, another one can be against it, and that's not really what we want to have for a financial revolution like digital currency. So he did remove himself from the race, and that was because there was only 1% of state delegates that supported him after Iowa's caucus. And that's actually pretty sad. That does go to show that, first, he probably didn't have a lot of support, but second, a lot of the old heads that are still in the system controlling the government obviously do not know where the world seems to be going and are not paying close attention to some of his more interesting things that he was trying to bring to the table, like cryptocurrency, blockchain as a whole for the nation. In any case, we will continue to move forward. This is not the end of crypto and blockchain as a whole within the presidential seat. We may see it maybe 8 years from now, maybe 12. It might be a while, especially if Donald Trump wins again. I understand that he's against cryptocurrency as of right now. Next up, we have top Bitcoin developers face off in a lightning-powered boxing match. So the cool thing here was that these two developers were having a digital boxing match of pretty much their own characters, and there was nothing really interesting about the game other than the fact that they used it as a way to highlight the power of Bitcoin's Lightning Network in a way where they could share payments pretty quickly, easy, and even send fractions of a cent as a transaction amongst each others to support each fighter. So, for example, if you donated or whatnot, you could help each player by getting a power up of some sort, right? Like getting bigger or stronger or something like that. So it was just a really cool way to show, hey, Bitcoin is not as expensive to use as people think, because Lightning has made it a lot more inexpensive. So that's pretty good to see. I hope to see more innovation within this gaming industry. I'm not going to be one to, donate free Bitcoin like that for a boxing match, but if any case, it's a good proof of concept, what we saw here, and should motivate other game creators to have, these kind of in-game economies taking place. That would actually be pretty exciting within the gaming realm. Next up, we have Consensus Project launches proof of use network to discourage speculation. So this one was a weird one to read because the whole point of this one was a proof of use protocol, which you're going to be required to use the token immediately after purchasing it. And then there is like a 90-day period where you can't get rid of the token. It has to be at least 50% of the asset has to be staked. So the project is called Activate. It's a decentralized token network, and it announced that it's going live with Scale. And Scale is the token that's going to be leveraged for proof of stake. So this is going to allow you to stake these coins, tokens, and it's going to be on the Ethereum blockchain to allow more scalability. Again, another promise, just like we hear with hundreds of other things that try to scale. Ethereum is, hey, they're trying to enable more transactions per second and all that good stuff, all that promise that we constantly hear. The big thing here, the reason why I wanted to highlight it was so that you guys knew what to expect when you heard about the Scale project. I wouldn't necessarily get overexcited about it. I don't see what's really innovative or even really, I guess, valuable. That's really the word, right? So we will see as more information comes out, but the meat and potatoes about it is that their biggest thing in the platform is proof of use. And right now that proof of use is just being seen as staking, which the staking allows for the scaling of the blockchain. So, nothing to me outright innovative, but I figured I'd keep you guys in the loop. Next up, we have MasterCard, Binance X, and Ripple Spring joining the Blockchain Education Alliance. So pretty cool news here just to see how these different organizations, so we have NEM, Emergo, LTO Network, Harmony One, Ontology, OneChain, Icon, some of these bigger projects that we've seen in crypto now for a few years, they're getting together with the Education Alliance of Blockchain for to ensure that students receive their skills, connections, and knowledge necessary to contribute to the blockchain ecosystem. So long story short, this is just going to make it easier for students across the world, hopefully, to get the right information and get the right skill sets for blockchain, because we do need to get blockchain to a more adoptable level. Next up, we have U.S. Congressman Challenges Fed chair on threat of China's digital currency. So we have U.S. Congressman Bill Foster is just urging the Federal Reserve to continue to accelerate the plan for this actual central digital currency. We heard in the first article that I covered today about how we had the federal chair mention the importance of having privacy within a U.S. digital currency. But right now, we have Congressman Bill Foster coming out and pretty much saying, hey, let's kind of, stop wasting time and let's get right to it. Let's get this digital dollar set up in place. And why would it really give the U.S. dollar more power? And the thought process is that having a single government currency at the heart of the financial system is something that's always served well. So it's a basic thing that hasn't really been in question. So essentially what Foster wants is to see that CBDC issued by the U.S. government, obviously sooner than later. And that is to keep, right at the heels of China with the digital yuan. But then again, the biggest thing is that China's government is very different from the U.S. Okay, so when China says this is banned, it's banned. That's just how things work. Nobody is going to put it in a vote. There's no, it's not like the U.S., like we get to complain and voice our concerns and be emotional on social media. It doesn't really work that way with China. I think it's a lot more locked down. And that's why I also think, right, what is the U.S. really going to achieve with a CBDC? And that is a question that I want to pose on for you guys, whether you are a U.S. Citizen or you are just an outsider looking in, probably from the UK or any of these other countries. If you do understand the U.S. government, what do you think really the CBDC would bring to the U.S. government? Because to be brutally honest, after covering the excitement and seeing how the U.S. is so late to this CBDC situation, the more I think about it, the more I just believe that the reason why they're not jumping at it tomorrow is because they can't really force, the citizens of the U.S. to just use the dollar, or the digital dollar. I don't think that's something that can really be forced. And it seems like there's just going to always be that option. So I guess maybe that's why they're not rushing to do it, but I think that's the only thing that can kind of pop in my head, because I thought about the same question for quite a while, and I don't understand why we're going to continue to drag our feet, especially as the U.S. has been a very first when it comes to other technologies. So I think it's just because it's a country where there's a lot of freedom that it really comes down to, man, even if we do see this CBDC get issued, are people even going to want to use it? And so that'll be, let's see how things play out. I don't expect the US CBDC to get launched in this year. If it does, to be brutally honest, it wouldn't blow me away. I think I've seen bigger news at this point, especially coming from China. from other countries also. So let's just see how that plays out. Next up, we have privacy-oriented DAI is a thing now. So a pretty cool thing was the way that these were minted, which is 10,000 ZK DAIs. Essentially, they're built on the Aztec protocol that enables private transactions on Ethereum. They were minted by using 10,000 normal DAI coins. So the cool thing is, though, is that even though it's not currently available, and that is because decentralized exchanges don't currently support it, or exchanges, but eventually they could, right? Because it's just another version of DAI. It's pretty much the same contract to a certain extent, except for the privacy of it. But what we are seeing, what's interesting is that if they did that with the DAI token, they're saying that they can add privacy to any other token issued on Ethereum. So think about that, guys, right? First, we were entertaining the whole Bitcoin privacy idea, and now we're entertaining Litecoin, Ethereum, and right now, here we are again, looking at privacy for any token. Now, the big thing here is, what would that mean for Monero, right? Or other privacy coins, that's pretty much what they're pushing for. And again, some people will probably argue that Monero's privacy might be deeper and all that good stuff, and we could get technical in the future. But then again, being able to have private transactions at whatever level within your specific token would be a big deal. So let's see how that one plays out. Last up, we have Canada Joint Ventures is launching a stablecoin pegged to the Canadian dollar. So here we go, seeing another coin just getting pegged to country's dollar. In this case, is just Canada. Of course, they're very excited to get it in place. I am also excited to see Canada in the news with their first stablecoin. And nothing really else to show here, guys, other than that's just the news here. So the coin is going to be called QCAD, and it's built on the Ethereum blockchain. It's going to be an ERC20 standard, and it's being pushed out by Canada Stable Corp Inc. So it is a corporation, and yeah, they're just trying to drive more trust, mass adoption with stable coins, and all that fine wording that we've seen ever since the stable coins have been a thing now. But that's going to be it for the news, guys. There weren't really anything, I guess, revolutionary, because we've had so many articles that have just been pretty major, pretty dense with information. But for now, what we do see is just further confirmation that we're in the right place at the right time, and that is with crypto. We are also seeing that even the US can't just sit back and relax. They're getting pressure from their own congressman. And yeah, guys, there's just a lot going on. So we're going to keep at it. We're going to come back for another blockchain news video tomorrow. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like it, comment down below. Let's get the conversation going on some of these topics. Sub to the channel if you want more blockchain news. I'm doing it Monday through Friday, and I'll see you guys on the next one.